Now, I want to talk a little bit about the zoning of this property, and as always, nothing is guaranteed. You'd have to check with the city, but this is what I know from my checking thoroughly on the city's website. This is MC1 land, and it's important to note that both properties on either side are high density, one being an apartment with a separate entry. So, multi-residential development that will have higher numbers of dwelling units and traffic generation than low density residential. So this is higher density than say MC2, which would allow only two dwellings. Okay, so it has the capacity for higher building height. Okay, so what they're saying here is that they're allowed to go a maximum of 14 meters, and if it was next to a MCG or HGO district, then it would be maximum is 9 meters, but that doesn't apply. If where a parcel shares a property line with the street, the maximum building height is 10 meters. It doesn't. Okay. So the maximum area horizontal cross section. So this is an important part of the equation. It becomes an average of the two buildings from what they're saying, and it must not be greater than 40% higher than the maximum area of a horizontal cross section through the building between the average grade and 10 meters. Okay, so that means that 10 meters is like 30 feet. Now, I would say that if the property to the left is actually looks to me like about 26 feet, or pardon me, 23 feet. That would be less than because 10 meters is about 30 feet. So what they're saying is it probably can't be higher than the. So this is kind of the minimum. So the way I read this, and you'll have to check with the city, is that if we took the average grade between the two buildings and 10 meters, that would be our average, and then we could add 40% to that. So as I calculate this, it looks to me like the average between the two buildings, right and left, should be 26.6 feet high. And if they're taking an average between the 10 meters and the 26.6 feet, that means that 10 meters is 32.8. We end up with a 39.55 foot maximum for the building. As I read this, this must be clarified with the city as to what they mean there. So in this particular instance, that would leave room for at least 3 stories, I would suspect. Now, all of that, as far as number of units, parking is a really big part of the equation with all of this. And there is some special requirements here on parking. So the minimum, 558 says minimum motor vehicle parking calculated as 0.6525 stalls per dwelling unit. So that means really what they're saying is that typically it would be 3 parking stalls for a 25-foot lot zoned for this, because you probably wouldn't get more than 2 cars wide at the back on 25 feet. You wouldn't get 3. Now they don't. I've talked to them before. I don't think you can do tandem. I don't know if that is an option, but I doubt it. Right? Now, also, um, the issue here is that it changes, because what they've said here is that any properties close to the LRT station improves by 1.25% on the LRT in Area 2. And when we look at Area 2, it shows that we're within Area 2, because this area is north of 17th and it is east of 45th. So the shopping mall is here. It's basically right in that area, which means that it sits very close to the LRT, which gives it less than 0.5 parking stalls per unit, which would mean that you would get, for 2 parking stalls at the back, you would get the access to use 4 units there, to my thought. Okay, so I can't guarantee any of this, but all I can say is this should be taken up with the city. I believe that you're probably going to get maximum 3 stories and 4 units. It's possible with the height, if they'll verify that height, that you may be able to pull this property out of the ground a little bit higher and give the lower units more window space and be a little bit higher in the ground to make them feel above ground. You may even have uh, higher stairs going up to some top units based on this. But you're probably going to have the issue of stairways on the outside of the property. You probably won't have the space for that. So that concludes my feeling on what should happen here, but everything should be verified as always.